What's up, everyone? My name is Candace Smith, and I want to come on here and talk about this bishop that got robbed of $1 million in his jewelry while he was preaching on a live stream. And everybody may not agree with what I'm going to say. They may not, share the same thoughts. I even want to talk about Larry Reid live, hopping into it, kind of mocking him, getting down on the floor, and then Pastor Genesis, and as well the bishop even getting online and speaking to them. I want to talk about all of that. I want to talk about how he's been in the news and how the news has been framing the whole situation as well and the latest response. So I want you to check out the news clips though, and I'll be right back.
A Brooklyn bishop was robbed at gunpoint in the middle of his Sunday sermon today, and it was all caught on camera. The service was being live streamed this morning when he says 3 to 4 men walked in with guns. He spoke at length with CBS 2's Lisa Rosner about why he believes he was targeted and his message for the suspects.
5 to 10 minutes into preaching Sunday morning on Remsen Avenue in Canarsie, Bishop Lamore Whitehead saw the door in the back of the room kick open.
How many of you have lost your faith because you saw somebody else die what you about to go through? Yo, all right. I seen 3 to 4 men come in. I said, all right. It's pretty much stating that I'm not going to do anything, right? Because I know y'all coming for me. Y'all coming straight to me. I don't want my parishioners hurt, right? I got women and children there. As I got down, one went to my wife and took all her jewelry and had the gun in front of my 8-month-old baby's face. Took off my bishop's ring, my wedding band, and took off my bishop's chain, and then I had chains underneath my robe. He started tapping my neck to see if anything else. So that means they knew. They watched and they knew that I have other jewelry.
The church's live stream shows the gun being held on the pastor.
They had the guns on my deacons that was at the door.
Whitehead says what you don't see on camera are around 100 congregants who were in the room. Men, women, and children dropped to the floor in silence.
My church is traumatized. The women and children are still crying. Still crying. Babies are still crying.
Police say the men took off in a white Mercedes. Whitehead says cops have a license plate and witnesses saw the men change clothes outside.
These men, they need to turn themselves in. I forgive you, and I'm praying for you. And I hope that God deliver you from the mindset of who you are at this time.
Whitehead believes his family was targeted because of the publicity he received when he helped turn in the suspect wanted in the fatal subway shooting of 48-year-old Daniel Enriquez in May.
I turned them in, but the media called me the bling bling bishop. They had my Rolls Royce car all over everywhere, and I feel that played the part in this. I think all pastors should be able to get permits for pistols.
The NYPD is investigating, and Whitehead says the mayor and top police brass have called him, pledging support to find the suspects. Fortunately, no one was hurt. In Canarsie, Brooklyn, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
In a statement, a spokesperson for Mayor Adams said, quote, no one in this city should be the victim of an armed robbery, let alone our faith leaders and congregants worshiping in a house of God. The NYPD is investigating this crime and will work tirelessly to bring the criminals involved to justice.
Bishop in Brooklyn was robbed at gunpoint right in the middle of delivering his Sunday sermon. This was yesterday. So the frightening encounter was all caught on the church's live stream.
And tonight, the bishop is telling us what was going through his mind as it all unfolded. Arthur Chen in the newsroom now with what he had to say. Arthur.
Lori, Steve, this sermon taking place yesterday, the bishop was asking his congregation if they've ever lost faith after seeing someone die. Seconds later, masked gunmen were in their faces and nobody knew if it was a robbery or if they were about to experience a mass shooting.
Yo, all right.
While delivering a Sunday sermon on a live stream, 3 masked gunmen are seen storming the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in Brooklyn, forcing Bishop Lamore Whitehead to the ground. He says the gun was even pointed in the face of his 8-month-old daughter.
Women and children started to scream, and they put the gun to my back, and they put the gun to my daughter's face. This is atrocious, right? for men to come in during service and lay the entire church down at gunpoint.
The bishop says the gunman stole more than $1 million worth of jewelry and gems, including expensive watches and even his wedding band. While the sermon was going out live from the second floor of this building, some congregants were there in person.
It's threatening for the people that come to church that day. It's horrible.
Whitehead once served 5 years in prison for identity theft and grand larceny. In his current life, he is known for his opulent flashiness and claims to be a mentee of Mayor Eric Adams. The bishop recently attempted negotiating the surrender of Q-Train murder suspect Andrew Abdullah and showed up at the police precinct in a $400,000 Rolls Royce, but the NYPD took Abdullah into custody on their own. Now, the bishop is offering a $50,000 reward for the arrest of the gunmen who robbed him, urging them to turn themselves in.
I'm praying for them, but I want justice to prevail, because they can't just run into these churches like this, man. If you could run into the church, you could run anywhere.
Now, it's unclear tonight if the suspects knew their armed robbery was being filmed, including them getting into a white Mercedes and taking off. Regardless, the bishop says he will continue to hold services. As of right now, no arrests have been made.
Okay, so y'all just checked out those news clips, and I watched this all play out on social media, and I watched people immediately begin to just say this did not look real. They began to question why he was wearing so much jewelry coming to church during a live stream, why the guy in the corner was just sitting there, why the camera was shifted. You know, there was just so much speculation going on, and it was all happening online, and everyone was basically saying the same thing, but it means something different when bigger people come out and they begin to talk about it, people with bigger platforms. And that's what ended up happening with Larry Reid Live. He's a commentator who discusses kind of like the church, and so he came out and checked this out real quick.
Counseling. She was just traumatized. They put the gun to the baby, allegedly. We don't know. We ain't seen that.
Yeah, we didn't see it.
Yeah, we don't really know what. He said in the live, I told everybody to get down. Nigga, we just saw the video. You did not tell nobody to get down. You said, all right.
Larry, I don't know. But his wife does seem to be sweet. His wife and I, we're Facebook friends, and
this what it did. This what it.
Oh God. Boy, you is crazy. Okay. What Lisa and Shamaka and them at?
I'm down here in Atlanta by myself. Can't nobody tell me what to do.
Oh God.
Okay, now, what I love about you is that you're a businesswoman. Now, tell me about your website and the sale that's happening.
So yeah, it was all types of messy. I was right in on that live because I saw him go live. I knew he was going to talk about it. What I didn't know was that he was going to invite someone in. And I also didn't know that the bishop was going to come into the live as well, which is what ended up happening. But I was really shaking my head at just the enormity of it, the buffoonery of it. Like, seriously, him getting down on the floor and the entire time kind of mocking him, but pretending not to really mock him, which is something a lot of church people do. They do a lot of shady stuff like that. Like, they know that it may trigger you. They know that it may upset you. So they'll do things like that. Like, you know, and then play innocent, like, oh, I wasn't even talking about you, or we were trying to discuss it and things like that. So there's another clip that I have of when the bishop came in, and he kind of came in trying to say how upset he was about, you know, Larry mocking him and also the woman mocking him. But child, he was calm at first, and then later on he just went all the way in. He like ended up cursing, using some profanity, and picking on Larry and the young woman. So y'all could check out this short clip.
Right. Yes, let's see what he got to say. Here he is.
Okay.
Hey, Bishop.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You upset that I was laughing?
Nah, and I'm not upset about anything. You guys have your prerogative to say what you want to say, but when you are turning what happened to my church into a laughing stock, that's what I have a problem with, because I gave you nothing but respect and nothing but honor when I met you. I treated you with nothing but respect, nothing but with straight integrity. And you want to sit here and talk about that?
My job is to talk about what is viral. I did you a favor.
No, I don't need no favors from you, Larry. But my question to you is,
you
Larry,
let me
do
talk?
though.
You
Larry,
let me talk?
excuse me?
You do.
Ma'am, I don't even know you, ma'am. All right,
But
so you can just stay out of this one. I don't even know you. All right, I don't even know you. You're trying to include yourself into this.
Help.
You need to go and get some weight loss if you want to get sir,
Late.
if you want to see and laugh about.
Y'all, that thing got ugly. I didn't want to play it all because it got real ugly. It got real messy. He kept calling her fat. He kept calling her Biggie. Not saying Biggie Smalls, but trying to say Biggie Big. He was really going in on her. And I found that very interesting. He has so much energy for the woman, but he was confronting Larry. But in my opinion, he had a lot more energy for the woman that was on there, and she wasn't saying half as much as Larry was, but he really got very offended by her co-signing and making remarks, and he ended up calling Larry this slur that used to be used for people to describe people that are in the LGBT community, that starts with an F and rhymes with maggot, and I know Larry already knew that he used those terms. He knew who he was and how he behaved. He wanted to do something to trigger that man into showing the world that he did that. And that is the types of games that church people play. See, they know how it's going to look to everyone. And so therefore, when that ended up happening, whatever little credibility the bishop had, it really went out the window, because now it's like, okay, you're using these terms, you're going in on her, and so a lot of people turned against him. But I kind of saw through that. This man if he was robbed, he was just robbed at gunpoint, and you talking crazy. But I feel like Larry wanted to really expose him, and so he really set that up and went live and said, I'm gonna do these things to make that happen. Another thing is, a lot of people at this time began to dig deeper because of the news reports, because of Larry Reid Live and him having such a huge following that other smaller bloggers follow. And so when that happened, they began to dig deeper and discover that he's, has a record of fraud, a record of, kind of like taking from his parishioners. So all of these things began to come out. And then he's steady going live from his air quotes prayer closet, which is another clip that I found, which my girl Shakira with Style Your Curves, she posted that. I'm like, this man is still out here doing stuff. He's just still doing stuff. That's hilarious. That he won't sit down. He just still doing stuff. So he's like, yeah, come check out my prayer closet. Child, this closet look like one of the housewives of something. Here he go.
And I'm gonna walk y'all into my prayer closet. This is my prayer closet. And one would think that, wow, look at your closet. Got all my priestly robes and more. Designer coats, you name it, Gucci, Louis, you name it. Fendi, you name it. More coats. And then when you walk into my shoe closet, every designer wear, designer wear for days. But I didn't come on to talk about designer wear or wealth.
I'm not really going to talk about guilt and innocence when it comes to the robbery, whether it was real or not, because I just don't know. Were there some things that looked suspicious? Yes, there were. There were some things that looked very suspicious, but I have just come to understand that everything is not always what it seems. And sometimes, even though people do a lot of bad things, don't mean that nothing bad can't happen to them and it be real. With that being said, I really am not even that concerned with, whether the robbery was real or not. I'm glad no one was hurt at the end of the day and no one lost their life. However, the whole situation really just shows me a lot about the people, the people that commenting, the people that are involved, the people, that are just involved in the whole situation. It really just shows me a lot. And over the past couple of days, I would be in and out of learning about it because I would have some very strong emotions because I'm looking at how people are responding to the church and to people in the church. And a part of me wants to say, oh, don't show this. Don't show this. But then another part of me is like, I am glad that this is being seen because so much of this goes on behind the scenes. These are the kinds of conversations that are going on amongst the most powerful people in the church. And we've never been privy to that because they get out in their Rolls Royce or whatever type of nice car, in their fancy clothes, looking well put together, and you don't know that it's all a mess behind the scenes.